Can the use of an operating system violate the terms of a privacy policy? I'm not a lawyer. This is not a substitute for individualized advice from a qualified legal practitioner. It's well documented that Microsoft is recording key presses, voices, images, video, and they're using it to train their AI or to give you better service or whatever their stated purposes are. We've also got Google underlies the entire Android phone market, not to mention Chromebooks. We've got different vendors, different people intimately attached to our lives and what we're doing with data. Not just our data, but other people's data that we happen to interact with. Many of us have a privacy policy, something in the neighborhood of this statement taken from my own website, that we do not sell, trade, or otherwise transfer to outside parties your personalized identification information or identifiable information, your PII. Okay, so I'm not selling it. I don't bundle it and package it and put a price on it or grade it or anything. We don't do anything remotely like that. And I would have to assume most companies don't, most people don't. But what happens if you're working from home, let's say with HIPAA compliant software? And there's nothing wrong with the software. There's nothing wrong with the connection. It's all secure between you and your place of employment or your company and your employees, depending on which perspective you're coming from. Or even better, you're a customer and you interact with the doctor and you're having symptoms of something and you call up and you tell whoever answers the phone, which they may be answering from home, what those symptoms are, and they type them into their computer so they can go to the doctor so the doctor can do what they need to do or just get this process started. It all seems safe enough. I mean, there's privacy protection. There's layers of security, I'm sure, involved in all that. But what happens, you're running Microsoft Windows. And this document that's on Microsoft's website, see support.microsoft.com, this is about all Windows 10. We don't know if there's a delineation somehow between a home user and a pro user and an enterprise user. We don't know because they don't specify that. But what they do say, when you use a Microsoft cloud-based speech recognition service, Microsoft collects and uses your voice recordings to create a text transcript of the spoken words in the voice data. The voice data is used in aggregation to help improve our ability to correctly recognize all user speech. So the data Microsoft collects from these online services helps to improve them. But in the HIPAA situation, how about if the moment that they're collecting their sample is during that telephonic communication to where the microphones, either on the computer or in just whatever mechanism, is able to pick up the whole entire conversation from both sides. That is supposed to be a HIPAA protected conversation. That's just one topic. It's just an easy example. You did not intentionally share that information with Microsoft, but was it shared? And is it a violation of the privacy policy? I'm just curious if the software we're using, whether it's operating system, specialized software, or office software, or whatever, can it be breaking or violating our privacy policies? Can the use of it? Can installing Windows or using a Android, here's this example, a smartphone or a Chromebook or even an iPad or a Mac product or an Apple product. Is there a way where these can actually actually violate the privacy policy. From a customer's perspective or from an individual's perspective, when we share information with somebody, an organization, or whatever, we expect that information usually to only go as far as it needs to provide the benefit that we're looking for, whether it's an appointment with the doctor or whether you're shopping online. You only want the information that's required. You click a button, you put a quantity in, and then you pay for it. There's a very limited set of information that's transferred there. We kind of, from a consumer standpoint, are expecting some level of privacy protection there. From a business standpoint, we work hard to find out what standards are, what standards we have to enforce, because there's a lot of them, and we implement policies and procedures. We assigned authority over those. We invest resources and money to see that those are accomplished. And from an employee standpoint, we're just trying to do the tasks that are assigned to us or fulfill the roles that have been given to us. But is there an underlayer that's kind of supplanting all of that? It's a question to be answered by I guess better people, more qualified people, researchers, lawyers. It's just another part of I would have to say the privacy struggle. Is there a way operating systems and software can be validated for what it's doing with the data that's being entered into it, or the cloud services we're sending it to? It's almost like a house of cards. If I install an operating system and I use an organization's software, and that software stores information to a cloud, right there we've got three different sets of privacy policies before we even get to our own. We've got one for the operating system, we've got one for the software, and then we have one for the cloud. And then on top of that, because we're kind of dependent on those, we have our own policy, position, and statement. And these are all like fragilely kind of standing on top of each other. And if any one of them goes down, especially the ones that are outside of our control, if the operating system is actively spying, if the software is actively allowing you to create data that is directly feeding artificial intelligence, data mining, et cetera, if any of those, whether stated or not, but especially if it's not stated, or if it's stated in such a way that it is not clear. There is a ride at Universal Studios in Orlando. I believe it's called the Bilge Rat. Unlike most water rides in theme parks, you come up and there's a sign there, and it's a nice size sign, and it says, "You may get wet." Well, that's a nice way to say it. But see, on the Bilge Rat, near the beginning of the ride, there's like a 4 to 6 foot wide solid wall of water. There is no way you're going on that ride. If the water's in that ride at all, and that waterfall's turned on at all, there's no way you're not going to get wet. The sign should say you will get wet, because it's not possible, not without some crazy something. And even then it may come up underneath to try to cover it. But the point is that you will get wet. It's a very clear, that's what's going to happen. You know when you're getting on that ride because you see everybody else coming off of it. And when you get to the entrance of it, you saw the water flying over, you know that there's water involved. I have to wonder if the use of these operating systems and this software, they've been so convoluted with such a long and complex and carefully worded and crafted policy statements. At the end of the day, we really don't know what they're doing or what's actually happening. There again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just curious. And I'm just wondering, is what we do with our devices violating the promise and the trust that we have with the people that depend on us and rely on us? If you like this video, click like. If this was thought-provoking and you want to see what else we're going to be looking at, hit subscribe so you don't miss upcoming content, because we have a lot of upcoming content. Support us. We have a Patreon. We have direct donation abilities. Share us on your social media. Help us get the word out. Help us grow the channel, because you have inReach that we do not have. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we value each and every one of you.